Hi everyone. Welcome to I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren, and this video is here to take a look at how this month's portal energy, working with the master number 11 in numerology, combined with the energy of the eclipses that have been happening. We had one lunar eclipse last month and a second solar eclipse paired with a new moon this month in June, and how this portal between our eclipses is working with the numerological number of 11 with the month of June to help open a portal for each one of us uniquely to move through as a more evolved, spiritually evolved version of ourselves. Now, I will take a look at each one of the signs and go into a special message for you to really take a look at what you will need to release to be able to walk through this portal that Spirit is kind of holding open for you to really see the next step in your evolutionary growth. And what does that look like? That looks like a higher level of emotional fulfillment, more ease and being authentic to yourself, the ability to work with your signs' unique energies in conjunction with your unique spiritual abilities, hopes, and dreams. So you can combine these two to really unlock the abundance that is waiting for you on the other side of this doorway. And before I get into the actual readings for you guys, you can click on the timestamp in the link below, in the description box below, to actually see the readings for your specific sign. But I did pull a overarching kind of another message for all of us as a collective for what we really need to release to walk through this portal energy of June, to be able to step in July into the best versions of ourselves, into the selves that are really going to prepare for the second half of this year to really take full advantage of the actualization energy of 2022, which is coming up, in which we will be able to really step into our seat of personal power, as long as we really work with awareness for the second half of this year to unlock our own unique abilities and to understand where they fit into the greater picture with everybody else's. So the message that came up was surrender to setting limits. And it says, it is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence. And this is a hard lesson. This is one of the hardest lessons for myself to learn, and I am still in the process of learning this one. But surrender to setting limits means surrender the fear of having to say no, of having to be afraid to express what you really need. Because as we move forward into this next bigger version of ourselves, we're really going to become aware of what we need. And to understand that our needs are unique and different from the needs of everybody else. And that's a really core, I think, fundamental, I don't know if I'd say idea, but it's a fundamental perspective of really understanding that there are no two people on this earth whose needs are going to be exactly the same. And when we're talking about needs, we're talking about all aspects of our lives: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And so one person's perspective on what they need in certain areas is going to be very different from another's. And this is really about this month specifically bringing you back to what you need. Bringing you back to the awareness of your unique abilities, your unique spiritual makeup, and the dreams and the desires that come with that. And those make up your needs. One person might have the ability to do something that requires a different set of needs. You know, somebody may have a very stressful job and they need more downtime on the weekends and in the evenings. Somebody may need more creative time because they are, they work in a creative field. You may need more alone time. You may need more time with interacting with people. It is all unique to us. There are people who need to focus more on their physical health and well-being because that actually transcends and moves through all their aspects of their life. When they look good, they also feel good. And they think good and think well. And so this is really about, I think, tapping in. This really, really highlights that element of this month, which is highlighting that number 11. And that number 11 looks like a number 1 and a number 1 side by side, really showing you the dynamic between yourself as a unique individual and the relationship to everybody else as their own unique individual, and understanding that it is okay to be your unique self. It is okay to express that. It is okay to have different needs in this person and to express those needs and to have those and to expect that those needs are met, as it is to respect that in everybody else and in your interpersonal relationships, and to understand that that is the dynamic that is constantly at play, and that you have to understand yourself before you can start to relate to others in a healthy, positive, and uplifting and elevating way. And that's what this month is pushing us to do. It's pushing us to come back to ourselves, to respect that we can set limits for ourselves. We can ask for our personal needs to be met, but we first have to understand what those are. And in order to do that, we have to understand ourselves. And then we can step through that door as a better version of that self. All right, guys, I hope you have a great month reconnecting with your unique self, reconnecting with all of those things that make you a special, divine being, a singularity among everyone else. And also that you see how in just getting back to being that best version of yourself and walking through this portal month with awareness, that in the coming months you'll understand that in just doing that, you are elevating the entire collective experience and truly being of service on a level that most of us only dream about feeling. All right, guys. Click on one of the timestamps in the description box below to see a very special message for your reading. I'm sorry, a very special, for your reading, for your sign. All right, bye guys. I will see you later in the month for additional messages. Bye. All right, all my lovely Aries. So, this is your destiny doorway spread for the new moon that is taking place on June 10th, and really helping you to harness the energy of releasing fear so that you can walk through the door of curiosity courageously to take action and move into a new and heightened version of your spiritual self. So this is a destiny reading, and we are going to look at basically the cards that were pulled on this side for you are what you are releasing, energies that you're currently sitting in. This is the doorway, and this is what you're moving into if you decide to, again, release fear and courageously move forward as what the universe is pushing you to become, which is a heightened version of yourself, and really making use of the energies this month, which tap into the energies of the number 11, which in numerology is a master number of the connection between yourself and the divine, or the connection between free will and utilizing your internal unique self in relationship to what I like to call divine design, intelligent design, or your external environment. So we're going to get right into this, Aries. These are not going to be long since we're doing one for every sign, but I think that they're important to really be able to see why releasing fear and staying curious is so important in continuing to make use of the opportunities that the universe continue to provide to you to move into a place of emotional fulfillment and happiness and just an overall feeling of place and purpose. So Aries, what came out for you on this side of the spread are the Two of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, the Five of Wands, and then your underlying energy is the King of Pentacles. So these two energies here are your anchoring energies. We have the King of Pentacles and the Emperor. So what I'm seeing right off the bat is you have this chance to level up this month by moving from, now the King of Pentacles is a king. It's not a base energy by any means. But what it is, when you move from the King of Pentacles to the Emperor, that is a big, bold move. And in fact, when you look at it in this image, the Emperor is actually holding a chess piece. And if you can kind of think about that, this is one of those months for you, Aries, where you really have the ability to tap into making that calculated move to release something in the tangible world. Now, why do I say that? Because the King of Pentacles is somebody who has the ability to create abundance in the physical world. This is somebody who, can, no matter, you can pluck this person out of one environment and put them in another, and they have the ability to thrive in no matter what environment they are placed in. And because he is directly tied to earth energy, he has that ability to be able to manifest here in the tangible. This is not about manifesting great ideas or emotional feelings. This is about he gets to make it here. He's holding a coin for a reason in this image. But with that being said, what I'm feeling here from looking at these cards, we have the Two of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, and the Five of Wands. Now, the Two of Pentacles is about juggling. It's about holding two pentacles and kind of this energy of we are forever juggling multiple things in our physical world. But sometimes when we do that, the number twos in the tarot denote a choice. Sometimes we're juggling too many things, or we are trying to juggle two things that really, when we're doing both, we don't thrive in either. And in this depiction specifically, if you can see it, it's interesting because most of the depictions of the Two of Pentacles are showing somebody juggling, but instead here it's showing him, kind of precariously walking in between, like away from what is on this ship sail way back here, which is balance. It's a yin and yang sign. So he's walking away from balance and moving into what seems kind of like a treacherous beach area here, where there's a snake and there's things that he can step on that are pointed. And so what I'm seeing here is that currently you are kind of carefully treading right now and trying to juggle, which can be a time waste. I mean, and yes, you currently are the King of Pentacles. Yes, you have that ability to, no matter where you are placed, you can figure it out. You can create abundance for yourself. You can create abundance for the people around you as well. This is also the sign of somebody who can, even in the work environment, be able to be put into a new role and be able to succeed and thrive. But to what extent? Because here we have the Nine of Wands. And the Nine of Wands is the kind of like the weary warrior, the wounded warrior. He's somebody who has taken action and gone very far with his passions to the point where he's now had quite a bit of experience, but he's lived to fight another day. So he's been through it all. He has seen battle. He has been triumphant. He has been down and out, but still risen above. And now it's like he's able to, tap into this kind of lion-hearted spirit of, this is how far I've come. This is what I've done. But there's an element of exhaustion that comes with this card because it's one step away from the final culmination of the 10-card cycle. So it's almost like, okay, I've made it this far. I've been juggling all of this. Do I really want to go one step further? And one step further is the 10 of Wands, which the 10 of Wands is somebody carrying all of the weight of the action that needs to be taken on their back. And so it's almost like you guys are in this place of carrying this load, but almost not knowing where to carry it to. That you have all of this on your back, and you've been going and you've been going and you've been going and you've been taking action and taking action and taking action and juggling and juggling. And maybe this is in the physical world, maybe you've been juggling a passion project and, a 9-to-5 job, or a 9-to-5 job and family, or all of the above together. And then we bring it into the 5 of Wands. And the 5 of Wands can be seen two ways. It can kind of be a card of chaos. The number 5 in general denotes change, transformation, chaos. And what I'm seeing with these two cards here is that there is this element of, right now, the situation that you're in feels chaotic. It feels like you're carrying the weight of action and passion. And as well, your environment is you feel like the people around you are kind of fighting you. And so action is difficult. You don't want to place another wand on yourself. It's hard to think about completing that cycle. It's hard to think about like going that one step further because you're just exhausted. And what I'm seeing here for you is that specifically utilizing the energy of the Master number 11 this month, utilizing that portal energy, and specifically on the day of the new moon, June 10th, moving into June 11th, stepping through, you have this ability to release something, and it's going to help take you from the King of Pentacles to the Emperor. And the biggest change between these two is that the Emperor can harness all of the energy of the King of Pentacles, which is the ability to be placed no matter where he is and be successful and thrive in the physical world. But the one big difference is that the Emperor actually doesn't need to do that. He is the emperor of his empire. So where he is where he's choosing to stay and invest. And he gets a chance to call the shots. He is not trying to create in whatever environment. He is creating the environment, and he dictates what happens in that environment. So this is a leveling up. It is a leveling between being able to already tap into what you naturally can do, but coming into a much more stable version of that energy. And your portal here is patience. And it seems kind of strange to have your doorway energy be patience. That this is somehow going to, when we think about stepping through a door, it's like, well, I'm stepping through a door. It's going to happen right away. I'm going to step through and here's the new me or the new environment or the new whatever. And what this is telling me here is that time is relative. Time for us as human beings is it's a hard concept for us to grasp because we live such a short period of time, but yet we have this ability to connect to the past, and we have this ability to project into the future. So we have this ability to bridge large amounts of time in our own internal reality, while our physical reality is tied to a very small window of time. Our present moment is really what we are moving in, and that's a very small little bubble. And what this is, how I'm reading this is you have been working towards something. The wand energy, the specific energy of passion and action, has shown me that you've been taking action and working passionately towards something. And that now, as you move forward, it is no longer about the pushing, the kind of fighting it's about releasing the need to get into whatever chaos is going on around you. You're moving from the king to the emperor now, and the emperor is above that. The emperor is going to, you can even see how he's sitting here. He's going to look at people who are doing this, who are having petty squabbles and, kind of, going out and trying to show off their passions. He's going to kind of look at that and be above that. He's going to be the one that discerns, okay, I'm watching you guys kind of test the waters here. I'm watching you have your little disagreement. I'm going to make the final call. I'm going to make the final say as to what I decide to move forward with. And so we can see on the other side of patience here, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And so you're moving from the Two of Pentacles to the Ace of Pentacles. And what that denotes is that if you can release fear, that if you let one of those pentacles go and you focus on just one, that somehow all of this is going to fall apart. Everything that you've been working on is like a paper house, or what do they call it? A house of cards. When in reality, it's not. In reality, you have the innate ability to be able to do whatever you want, to be able to manifest abundance in the real world, but you don't have to do it all. Not at the expense of your own ability to work with your passions, which you, Aries, that is what you're all about. You are all about action and forward movement and fiery passion. And this is showing me that you're almost like tapped out with that. Like it's almost like too much. You've been overstimulated. And now it's about, okay, it's about tapping back into this patience component of, it doesn't have to happen exactly at this moment, but if you can move into releasing some aspect of what you've been juggling and fixate on one aspect. Now, the Ace of Pentacles is a gift in the tangible world from the divine. This is the start of your next cycle. This is being given the seed that you then nurture. And so it is, as you walk through this doorway, it's almost like this cleansing element of being able to see between the two items that you're juggling, which one is the one that you're meant to move forward with, which one is the one that is part of your destiny versus what you're trying to forcibly make happen. And we have the Nine of Swords right next to this, which is interesting because the Nine of Swords is a card of worry. It's a card of the sleepless, the things that keep us up at night, the sleepless nights. But in this card specifically, it's showing all of the kind of dark, it's depicted with birds, but all of the dark, kind of negative what ifs, the worries, the thoughts that do keep us up at night. But then there's one that's white, one that's coming in. And what I see here is this is a woman who is awake at night. It's kind of depicting, that she's in bed, but she's seeing through the illusion that these are just thoughts. And in reality, this pure thought that she has is what will chase away all of the negative thoughts. That it is almost like waking up when you've had a bad dream and realizing, feeling that relief of, it was just an illusion. That was just a dream. And none of it was real. And I think that that's what you're moving into here, is that when you are able to be honest with yourself and sit with yourself this week as you move into this 11 energy, the portal of this 11 energy, that there is going to be that one thing that stands out, that one little seed that you want to focus on. And what you're going to realize is that you don't need to worry about the weighted burden on your back or dropping the other pentacle. Because what you're being asked to do is step into this energy, the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is exactly what's depicted here. It's this childlike energy of being able to work again with your passion, but seeing it from a new perspective, seeing it from this truly curious, kind of awed by your magic wand type setting. And so what I'm seeing here is that basically the Nine of Wands and the Page of Wands, you can almost see this as she's only working with her one wand. And that those two together can equate to the Ten of Wands, which is that final culmination of, the 10 card, sorry guys, Mercury retrograde, my mind just went blank, of the 10 card cycle for the wands, which now he could look at the 10 of Wands as a card itself harnesses the energy of burden, harnesses the energy of carrying, putting in one additional wand on this poor wounded warrior's back, and he now has to carry it somewhere. But he could also look at it as the reverse, as he gets to have this additional 10th wand, and he can leave behind the other 9 wands that he's been working towards and just go out with the one wand and have fun again. And remember what it was like. Remember why you started with that. What was that spark of passion that you had when you first started that project? When you first started taking action towards whatever it was. Now, this could be starting a family. This could be starting a business. This could be when you started a passion project. And sometimes we start these things and we lose sight of how much they no longer bring us joy, that they no longer feel right, that they become a burden instead of the beautiful the beautiful fulfillment that we had anticipated and started out with. And here, what it's showing me is that the reason why you're feeling that way is not because the passion project or what you've been working towards is not the right thing for you to be working towards, or that it's not meant to bring you fulfillment. It's that you've in the real world been juggling between passion and manifestation, passion and keeping the lights on, so to speak, because this is your innate ability to do that. So here, this month specifically is asking you to stop the juggling and get back to remembering, get back to this element of patience. You don't have to have it all right now. You don't have to, have the giant house with the, completed passion project and the perfect family. It's about realizing that there is a seed of divine design in there, and you've missed it a little bit. You've missed it because you've been just trying too much, trying too hard, getting lost. To me, this is almost like getting lost in the details. of I've been working, I've been putting energy, I've been creating, and maybe you have an element of abundance in your life, or you're seeing what you can create. But instead of stepping back and saying, but am I giving myself the time to enjoy that? Am I really, able to take care of all of these things so that they're nurtured and that I'm feeling passionate again? I'm feeling like I want to show everybody what I've been creating, and I have the time and energy to do that. It's almost like you need to pick your head up. And patience is telling me that it's interesting. It's these two cards, almost as I'm looking at them, are mirroring each other. This is telling me she's holding, even though this is a clock denoting time, it looks very much like she's holding, just like this, the Ace of Pentacles. And that kind of is what this is saying, is that there's time enough for everything. But right now, in this moment, when we're talking about stepping through a doorway into the next highest version of yourself, that right in this moment, there is only one thing that you should be focusing on. And that right now, this is time for just that one thing to patiently grow again. And that may mean that you have to go back to the start. Because the Ace of Pentacles is the start of a fresh cycle. And so yes, you may have to plant that seed that's brand new and walk away from other things that you've been working on, but that this is a fresh start in that area. And when you focus on just this one area in your physical world, you will see through the illusion of your worry to realize that you're going to tap back into this passion again, and that the 10th wand is not going to be a burden on your back. It's going to be actually what liberates you and reminds you and allows you to turn around with it fully lit to light the 9 behind you, so that now it's not even just you with your 1. It's being able to tap into all this hard work that you've put so far forward. It's now showing the beautiful bonfire that you are able to create from your passion. But doing it from a fun place, not doing it from a 10 of Wands place, which is burning it down, almost being burned from the inside out. It's lighting it with pride for others to see, and being able to tap into the childlike sense of fun that comes with that. So that then you can truly move into this place of stability, truly move into this place of, I've picked my seed, I've planted it, this is mine. And now I'm going to create the stability around it to watch it grow, to patiently watch it grow, knowing that whatever I've had to release here as I walked through, whatever other pentacle I was juggling, there is time enough for that also to sprout. But right now, there's only one I'm being asked. I don't have to do it all. I'm only being asked to focus on one, and I'm being asked to have fun with it. And I'm being told that I'm being reminded that I am the emperor of my own empire. And that really brings us back to that idea that each of us only lives our own life. Yes, we are always going to have responsibilities to others because we live in connection with others. But at any given time, we have to make decisions for what's in the best interest of our own empire. Because no one else is going to be living it for us. No one else can make those decisions for us. No one else can make us happy or make us feel fulfilled or make those decisions for us. We have to make them for ourselves. We have to decide where our empire is located and what it looks like. And down here, these 3 cards represent curiosity, courage, and contemplation. So I'm bringing in the triad of engagement to kind of help be the key, if you think about it, to unlock the gears of the door. The triad of engagement is something that I work with that helps us engage our internal, unique spiritual selves with our external environment. And I do look at it as it is us bringing the two wheels of our external and internal environment together to help continue to open elements of our life that we otherwise would not be aware of. So here for curiosity. Curiosity really is about tapping into that element of openness and receptivity. And so surrendering to something as you walk through is very integral. It's integral. Surrendering is integral to curiosity because we have to remember that we don't know everything. A lot of times as we get older, we step back from being curious, or we don't tap into the full power of curiosity because we feel that we know everything. And the beauty of life is that we can never know everything. And so there's always some component that we have to remind ourselves to surrender to, remind ourselves to realize that the world is magical and mystical and will continually surprise us. And that's what helps us engage with a sense of optimism and wonder and awe with our external environment instead of fear and pessimism and, kind of closed-mindedness. And so your card here for curiosity is surrender to what is. It says flow with what is instead of fighting it. When you can't change a situation, compassionately accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace. And I think that goes hand in hand with patience here. That as you walk through this doorway, surrendering to what is instead of trying to force what you thought what needed to happen first before you made this decision, or feeling that you need to change something about your situation. I need to have this much money before I can just focus on, my one blessing, my one new seed. I need to have this in place first before I can put down juggling everything. And instead just saying, to put yourself in this place of flow where you're starting to, connect those gears so the door is starting to open for you. It's just saying, instead of fighting what is currently in your life at this very moment, at this present moment, instead of trying to change the situation and putting that pressure back on yourself, that I can just work a little harder, I can just take one more pentacle, I can do it, I've done it before. Instead of saying, no, I don't have to do that. I can just accept what is. I can accept that right now things are a little messy and chaotic. And maybe I didn't get maybe after all this hard work, it's not manifesting in the time that I wanted or in the way that I wanted. But that doesn't mean that you have to change it before making a decision in your best interest. It doesn't mean that you have to complete all of these cycles and put the 10th wand on yourself and carry this burden while into a chaotic environment while also trying to juggle things with your feet and your hands. It's about realizing this is the way it is, and in this moment I'm being asked to accept that and to release something that I know. And you'll know in your heart of hearts you'll know what needs to be released. You'll know what doesn't feel right when you're juggling it, what feels heavier, to then be able to see through the worry and get back into this place of personal power. And then in your point of courage, where you need to really have the courage to take action, that's going to drag you through this portal here, is it says to the sea. And actually I'm going to read the little book that comes with this, if I can find it. Here we go. Oh, no, where is it? Oh, hold on, guys. It's all the way over here. If I can find it. All right. So to the sea. To the sea is the number 7. And the number 7 really harnesses the energy of the spirit. It's spiritual confidence. Okay, so this card specifically says essential meanings. Being in flow, which is interesting because this card as well talks about flow. But it says being in flow, returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. And it says, isn't it wonderful when you feel yourself in the flow of life, when events and conditions seem to engage you in a way that is fluid and effortless? This card reminds you that going with the flow is exactly what you need to do right now. Ride the wave of opportunity formed by perfect conditions. Allow trust and faith to guide you forward as you flow like a river into the sea of life. And that kind of goes hand in hand with patience. It's almost like for you, the portal, walking through the door, is not about all of the fighting and the pushing and the doing that you've been doing up until this point. It's about realizing, okay, it is what it is. My life is what it is. I can't change everything about my life. The only thing that I can change is my perspective and where I decide to put my energy. And right now I'm going to go in flow with life. What is that one thing that seems to be standing out? And maybe it's the one thing that you keep pushing aside because you feel like it's either selfish of you to focus on this or that it's almost too easy. Like if I just focus on this, well then I can't. I can't just focus on that one thing because there's so many other things I've been working with, and that's too obvious. And sometimes it's the most obvious. It is when it seems obvious that sometimes we're meant to go with it. We oftentimes try to assign and affix, especially with this, all of these deeper meanings to things. All of these deeper, but I have to have something grander come from this, or I have to, have some larger purpose right now. And in reality, that purpose is simply just to get back to square one and really fall back in love with the family that you've started. And instead of looking at your family as that burden, that chaos that's keeping you from your passion project, maybe the obvious thing for you to focus on is your family. And to know, and the fresh start that comes with that, and to reestablish yourself as the emperor with your family unit, with where your family's located, with how your family's living, with your environment that you want to feel like this, instead of working against it. And to know that there's time enough for everything else that you're doing. Or it could be the reverse. Maybe you've been focusing so much on getting your family up to this certain point, and you're like, when my family is here and I've made this much money and we live in this kind of house, then I can follow my passion project. Then I can really dig back into that business I kind of half-heartedly started. But in reality, when you stop and you look at what is your family truly suffering? Is your environment really that bad? Or is everything actually pretty fine? And your kids are happy and your significant other is fine, and you've placed all of this burden on yourself. You've placed all of this weight of, but I'm the one who always creates. I'm the one who's the king of creating in the tangible world. So I know I can just push myself a little bit more and meet this goal. When in reality, everything is pushing you now. That's not going to evolve you. It's not going to bring you fulfillment. It's actually disconnecting you from being able to be in flow with what's in your best interest, which is what the universe is trying to say. This is going to provide you with more fulfillment. This is going to provide you with more opportunity for joy. This is going to provide you with more opportunity to feel in flow with your life if you just take what is. So if you just say, and this is really about gratitude, if you just kind of step into that element of, okay, this is what it is. And you know what? I'm going to look at it and say, what is right now is based off of my decisions. It's based off of my experience and perception. And now I'm going to focus on that one area. I'm going to refocus on my business because you know what? My family is good. Do I really need to have another 10 grand in the bank, or are we fine for now? Do I really need to, add another layer of activity to my children's day? Or are my children fine with, the 2 extracurricular things they have going on right now? Do I really need to expand into that larger house? Or are we good for right now and I can focus on my little seed of business, which is going to bring me this feeling of passion again. And I'm going to step into this role of emperor and say, you know what? No, I'm not going to have all this burden placed on me. I'm going to get to make the decisions. I'm going to call the shots for myself, and I'm going to make the decision as to where I put my energy and as to what's enough. And then for your point of contemplation. So this is kind of advice from Spirit to really help reflect and integrate everything here. We have, and contemplation really is about taking that time out to meditate. Take that time out to reflect on your circumstances, taking that time to really think about what's in my best interest. What will make me feel like the emperor in my empire and not just somebody that's being used to create stability, used to create abundance that everybody can reap, which is great. But what's going to make me move from that to basically like a cash cow into I'm confident in my empire and I will call those shots. No one uses the emperor. And we have hello from heaven. It says, your loved ones in the spirit world want to connect with you as much as you want to connect with them. They know you've been thinking of them, and they're sending you signs and symbols to show you how much they love you, to prove they're with you at this time. And that's beautiful. And I think, really when I look at this as contemplation, it's showing your external environment wants to connect with you. Your spirit is trying to tell you, you can just release an element of your life and be okay with it. And have gratitude, really come into a place of awareness of everything that is in your life. Surrender to what is. Do not try to change it. No, you can't change your boss. No, you can't change your significant other. No, you can't make a leap from living in a 2-bedroom apartment to a 5-bedroom house overnight. Sometimes it's just about being grateful for what you have. If you have some savings in the bank, if you have a roof over your head, if you have a loving significant other, then just accept that for what they are or who they are, and then move and flow towards what feels easy for you right now. And to realize that that is exactly what Spirit is asking for you to do so that you can step into your destiny up here. And up here we have Dark Angel and we have Initiation by Water. And Dark Angel is really about the beauty of going through kind of that dark night of the soul and having all of that knowledge, all of that strength to then come through as a basically kind of like the wounded warrior here, that you've gone through so much, but now you have this ability to see, to look back now with more clarity, to understand and be empathetic with struggle and with appreciating how strong you are in meeting challenges, how strong you are in being able to take what comes with life, the unknown, the unexpected, but also being able to understand too that as you look back to realize, wow, there was a divine design to all of this, that I am fine, that even though I had to go through all of this struggle, I still have made it for myself. I have still been able to land on my feet every time. I've still been able to prove to myself what I'm capable of. And that's important. That's a really important place to be. It's a place of awareness, of being able to harness all that's happened to you from a position of power. You know, the emperor didn't just become the emperor of his empire by simply just walking in one day and opening the door and saying, hey, I'm the emperor here. The emperor earned that right. He built his empire brick by brick with blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak, to get it to where he is so he can sit back and appreciate how far he's come and to continue to want to act in accordance with the best version of what is best for that empire. And that empire eventually will have other people in it. It's not just an empire of one. It is an empire that involves many different people. And so he's always thinking about what's best for not only himself, but also the people now that have been able to come into his empire and connect with it. And he pulls from his knowledge. He pulls from his past experiences. He pulls from all of that, and he does it from a place of pride. And then we have initiation by water. And I'm actually going to read this one because I think it's really beautiful. So initiation by water, it says, your spiritual path this lifetime involves you becoming a clear channel for spirit. You are meant to communicate with higher guidance from the loving spiritual world. Your initiation by water will further open your receiving channels, dislodge lower vibrational material, and sensitize you to the subtle realms of light. You are being opened to a world of which you may have only dreamed. Such is its beauty, grace, and love. And it says, situations have been arising in your world that evoke emotional reactions and challenge your opinions and beliefs. You may not feel in control. You may feel like your world, your own emotions, have become like a stormy sea in which you are tossed about, and you are doing your best not to drown in the chaos. Yet you are not to fear it. Don't fear. Got to stay curious. It is stirring that which has been held within so it can be released. The storm will pass, and the waters of your emotions shall become more serene. You could compare the process to a glass of water with muddy sediment at the bottom. The water appears clear as the mud is left to lie. Yet once that water gets stirred up, the mud rises. Then it can be filtered out and the water will be clearer than ever before. The turbulence was a step that led to greater clarity. And I think that's exactly what's going on here. You're basically stuck in a turbulent environment so that all of the things you're juggling can come up. And now you're being asked to see clearly what needs to be released and what is truly left behind for you, what you need to make peace with. The waters in the glass are comparable to your emotional waters, and the fixed opinions, beliefs, or long-held emotional patterns based on unresolved past pain are the sediment at the bottom of the glass. Hold the glass up to the light. Can the light shine through the sediment? No, but it can be seen through the clear water. Remove the sediment and the water will be clear enough to allow light to shine through without obstruction or distortion. The light is the light of spirit, of higher truths, unconditional love, of peace, wisdom, and joy. You know that you are meant to be a channel for the truths of the spirit. As an advanced soul, you are capable of successfully enduring the process of filtering out whatever would obstruct the clear flow of higher consciousness through your being. Perhaps, tired of emotional swings, you have suppressed your emotions and believe you feel nothing. Yet you are acting out unwanted behaviors or suffering from apparently random physical accidents or maladies, which is your subconscious way of expressing your hidden feelings. If this is the case, you are encouraged to be kind to yourself, to give yourself time to reflect upon your true feelings. Releasing emotional blockages doesn't have to be a drawn-out process. It is often the resistance and fear of the feelings that is more difficult than expressing the actual feeling underneath that resistance and finally letting go. Whatever pain you are feeling right now is a sign of emotional healing and recovery. You are encouraged to accept and process your feelings, especially those that do not make much sense to you. Your emotional truths will make more sense as you heal. If you can get help from a healer, therapist, counselor, or mentor, they will support you and help you resolve your part of the process more swiftly. Know that even though it challenges you at times, this is a good thing that is taking place, necessary for you to more fully receive the divine connection for which you yearn. And I think that that's exactly what is being shown here. It's time to release the fear that's associated with what has seemed chaotic and stressful to you. And maybe, you're looking at your life going, well, it doesn't seem that chaotic and stressful. But sometimes what we don't realize is that just sitting with emotional discontent and constantly being in this place of when this happens, when I get that, then that's enough to really make you feel out of sync and unhappy with your life. Feeling that you're not in a place that's connected, feeling like you don't have purpose, feeling like you're just going through the motions until someplace down the line you will feel that again. And this is telling you that this month, especially going through this portal, it's time to tap back in. Spirit's asking you. They're like, hello, hello from heaven. Remember us. Remember yourself. Remembering who you can be. It's time to take a look around. It's time to realize and get that water back to being clear. To understand that, yes, you have gone through a dark night of the soul. You've gone through this journey where there were dark emotions and turbulent times, but you're being asked to release that. You're being asked to surrender to what is in this very moment, to appreciate what is there, to realize that you can't change the situation. I mean, this could even be hyper-fixating right now on politics or the state of our country or the state of the pandemic. These are things that we can't control. There are so many factors involved, and it's not on you to carry those burdens. What it is on you to do, and what Spirit's asking you to do, is to step into your specific place, your specific role, of which you've lost sight of, and of which you're desperately needed to come back into, so that you can nurture this seed that the universe is asking you to nurture right now. And so that you can step back into a feeling of fun again, fun with your passion. Aries, you are the fire. You are the first of the zodiac signs. You are the true leader of the entire of everyone. You are the one that's going to go first into battle. And you are going to be called upon in whatever you are looking to support now. That's the area that you're going to really be called to take leadership in as we move through the rest of the second half of the year, as you step through this portal, as you clear away and appreciate all the darkness that you've gone through, all this emotional turbulence, but to realize now you're being asked to come through clean. You're being asked to step through and get back into flow with what feels right for you, because that is when something feels right and in flow, and you can release everything else. No, you don't have to, again, change your boss, change your family, change, whatever you feel you have to change before you can just simply focus on what you know feels right to you. You can step into flow. You can make that choice to do that. Because once you do that, your destiny here is going to step in and say, okay, now we're bringing in the light. Now we're going to be bringing in more opportunities. Now we're going to support you in supporting your empire. Get ready. It's going to be a beautiful month for you. It's going to take a little bit of awareness. So I would really, for you, coming up to this new moon and beyond, moving into the second half of the month, really work with that element of releasing that feeling of, but I can't do that until. But if I don't do this, no one will. But if I'm not here, my boss will fail. But if I'm not here doing this, my significant other won't do it. But does it really need to be done? Are you really the one that needs to do that? Or is that false belief holding you back from fulfilling your purpose? All right, Aries, I hope you have a wonderful month. I hope you really take advantage of the element of release this month as you move into a better and brighter version of yourself. I'm really just getting this image of you in your full kind of suit of armor that's been shined up, holding this, I would say sword of truth, but it's almost more like you have sword of truth and you have the wand of passion, and you're getting back out in front and remembering your true superpower ability. What sets you apart from others is your ability to do and take action and take the lead. It's time for you to take the lead in your own life again. All right, I will see everybody in one of my next readings. And if you'd like to book a personal reading, the link to my website is in the description box below. All right, bye, Aries. Hi, all my lovely Leos, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is a video where we are looking at tapping into the energy of the new moon, which is on June 10th, as well as the master number 11, which this month really focuses to look at. And the master number numerology of 11 is really about the portal between us and what I like to call the divine design, which is destiny, the universe, God, the unknowable, but it's basically the portal between us and being able to really step into the next spiritual evolution of ourselves. And this month, just with the astrological placements, along with the number component of the month itself of June, and then with the solar eclipse that we're having on June 10th as well, that's in alignment with the new moon. This is really what I like to call a portal month. This is one of those months that comes up every once in a while, and it's really asking us to release something, to be courageous enough, to be curious enough to take a look at our lives in totality, to identify areas of emotional disconnection, blockage, feelings of frustration, feelings of not being in flow with our purpose, and to release them. And then to be able to move forward and kind of step through this portal of this month cleansed of those, being able to release those items where we feel that there are blocks, and taking the courage to do that, to release and to take action in some capacity that then is going to move us into the next kind of version of ourselves, into more of an alignment with our destiny, with our purpose, so that we can start to feel again that level of emotional fulfillment, and also to allow us to more clearly reconnect with our own unique abilities, hopes, and dreams that often get kind of muddied over as we go through these periods of intense physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual stress. So, for this reading, the way it's set up is we have everything over here in your current situation, we have basically the door, the portal that the energy of the portal that you're being asked to take courageous action to step through. And then everything on this side is what you're moving into. And then we have down here, these are cards that are pulled for the Triad of Engagement. Now the Triad of Engagement is something that I work with, that I have developed, that helps work with the principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation that allow you to engage your internal, unique spiritual self with your external environment, so that you can actually, kind of like a key that unlocks the inner mechanisms of a door, allow yourself to feel more in flow and to continually move towards the highest evolution of your spiritual self, which in turn will then bring feelings of purpose and place and emotional fulfillment and joy. And then up here we have kind of your destiny card, what you're moving into if you choose to take courageous action and release and move into this new version of yourself. All right, Leo, so we are going to jump right in here. So currently what you're sitting with is not bad energy, actually. You're sitting with, right off the bat, I see the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is your energy, Leo. This is really playing with your fiery, passion-filled, action-filled self. And what I see here right now is that you're sitting with a place of let me stop. Sorry, Mercury retrograde is getting a little in the way here. So these are the two major energies. On this side of the doorway, current side, you're sitting with the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is a great place to be. This is a time of pause and celebration of how far you've come in taking action and utilizing your passions. This is generally a card that is shown with a happy couple being celebrated by others. So it can be a card of recognition. It can also be a card sometimes of marriage and milestones like that are important that we work towards and important that we celebrate with others. And then we have on this side the Seven of Pentacles, which is interesting because the Seven of Pentacles is also here on this side. But the Seven of Pentacles over here, I love this depiction of the Seven of Pentacles. It looks like he is growing, choosing to grow and put his energy into this plant to magically take all of these tangible things that are its roots and bring up above the surface for others to see, what this plant is going to look like. And the Seven of Pentacles harnesses the energy of, basically, it is another card of pause. I look at the number sevens in general in the tarot as a kind of that pause where you tap back into spirit, into your connection with spirit, to really ask yourself, does this feel right? Is what I'm looking at right now, is what I'm growing actually something that I want to continue as kind of the magician in my life, be able to keep pouring energy into? And by tapping back into the spiritual component of the number seven, you're able to get clarity on that through your direct connection to the higher version of yourself, to that part of yourself that is linked directly to destiny and to that purpose and place you are meant to fill. And so really what this is showing me here is that you are in a position of power right now. You are sitting with your own energy. You are kind of, what I would say, my mom would always say, feeling your oats a little bit. You're feeling good about yourself. You're feeling good about where you are. But I see here that you have the Seven of Pentacles with the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles is that gift of that initial, it's like being handed a seed from the universe that is the start of something fresh in the tangible world. It's like being able to be given the seed and you're like, ooh, this is wonderful. I'm going to plant it. I'm going to nurture it. Thank you. But now you're also sitting with a place of, okay, now I've nurtured it for a little bit. Taken action. I have a lot to celebrate. It's grown into a tree, and this is kind of a sad version of this. So if you can see these two mirrored with each other. This Seven of Pentacles looks like a man who's tried to grow a bush from this beautiful gift from the divine, and it's kind of not coming out exactly how he expected. He's looking at it going, well, I don't know if this is really what I like. It seems kind of barren and everything's kind of scattered, and I thought it was going to be this beautiful bush, and instead it's this kind of barren wasteland. And so I think really right now, what you're being asked to do is step into a place where you're changing your perspective of how you've been working with what you've been creating in the tangible world. To change your perspective of, I feel like what I have right now in the tangible world isn't enough, and it isn't exactly what I was hoping was going to come to be when I planted this seed, and I put my passion into it, and I worked fire, like I want to celebrate with people for like what I've created. And what this is showing me here is that if you have the ability, so your portal, the doorway here is action. The energy here that's going to help bring you through this portal into this new perspective of where you are right now, and what you've been doing with this gift from the universe is action. And I love this card. It shows a black and a white horse, which, in the traditional tarot kind of makes me, the tie-in is with the chariot. And the chariot is being able to get your two horses, which are basically your head and your heart, in alignment to drive your chariot to your ultimate destination, which is whatever feels like home to you. It doesn't have to be a physical home, but it's driving you towards that destination of what is your ultimate emotional fulfillment. And so I kind of see that mirrored here, that this is taking action right now to open that door and step through and to say, okay, instead of me sitting here in this place of kind of dejected, I don't know, is it worth it for me to keep putting energy into this? I'm seeing it in this kind of dark, negative light. And yet I want to celebrate. I want to feel good. I want to feel like the King of Wands, like my big, bold Leo self. It's now about changing that perspective into realizing, okay, none of this was wasted energy. And to tap back into moving towards the Three of Wands, which is looking at what's coming into you, that you've put a lot of energy probably out. As the king, he is the king. He is working with his power. He's working with his passion. He's building. And the King of Wands is somebody who is only going to take action from a place of passion, of understanding what fulfills him on that level. But now it's more about, okay, things are going to start coming back to you. It's not all about having to push. Sometimes it's about balancing that out and receiving. So yes, the Three of Wands is still a card that's tied into action and passion, but you can see that this woman here in this depiction looks like she's waiting for something. Like she's ready. She has her paddleboard. She's ready to go out and meet the ship as it's coming into her. And that's kind of what this card, denotes. It denotes your ships coming in. So this does show me that right now there is a lot coming your way, and that you're ready to meet what's coming your way. But there's this extra level now of, instead of just focusing on growing your, and growing your pentacle, working with your passions in a way that create a tangible result, which is what the pentacles represent, something in the tangible world. That now it's getting more into this spiritual side of yourself, tapping back into your connection with spirit, which is with the Hermit. the Hermit is about, and this is tapping into Virgo energy, is tapping back into this element of going back within yourself and realizing that we each have our light that shines from within. It's a reminder to ourselves that happiness and fulfillment do not come from the external environment, they come from within. And that within each one of us is basically our guiding light. So in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, the Hermit card is literally what looks like an old man holding a lantern. Then in the lantern is a star. And that star represents his star, the light that by which he is internally guided by. And so this is about realizing and kind of changing, which is interesting that it's like there's this action card, and yet all of these cards are more cards of waiting, resting, going within, and almost like reaping the benefits of what you've sowed. It's getting you primed to come into a place where you are able to be grateful for what you have, and you're being able to be shown your own inner strength, how far you've come, and just to be proud of what you've done. Because right here, again, you've been working towards something tangible, and you've wanted to have this recognition. And it's coming. I mean, it'll come through the Three of Wands. It'll come through what's coming into you. But you have to get your head and your heart in alignment. And I think that's really what this action card is saying, is that in order for you to step through this portal into feeling kind of like you've taken action, but you're not quite sure if what you have is exactly what you were intended to have, and you're kind of disappointed by it, by getting your head and heart in alignment, you are going to be able to see the opportunities and tap into spirit to know where to place your energy moving forward. Because you're going to be able to, as your ships come in from all of this energy you've been putting out, this is a card of almost like being able to take action without take action. It's that lovely card of like, okay, I've done what I need to do. And now I have to kind of just step back and let the universe bring into me to reciprocate, to balance out what I've put out there. And then to take that time as I'm waiting, as I'm looking for the opportunities, to step back in and realize the seat of power is within myself. That I have to get back into turning on my own internal light, almost like E.T. for anybody who's seen that movie. You know, E.T., had this ability to kind of, glow from the inside out, and that was his heart light. And Leo, you are ruled by the heart. And this is kind of tapping back into that ability to see what your guiding star is, to tap back into that place of feeling love for yourself, and to realize that the seat of power is within you, that nothing in your external environment, no recognition by others, is going to be as fulfilling as what you know internally you can be fulfilled by. And then we have the world. And the world denotes an ending. It is a wrap-up card of wrapping up a cycle where you have learned all that you can learn and you get to take away all of these beautiful lessons and really kind of take pride to say, okay, it's done. I've learned what I can learn. And now it's time to move on to the next cycle. And the world can also denote travel. It can denote a change of location, because it really is that. It's like, okay, now let's change. let's celebrate. It's a higher version, a higher vibrational version of the Four of Wands. This is a true celebration of not only have you built a stability and taken action towards something that others can recognize and say, ooh, that's cool, good job. But you've also you completed a full cycle to where the universe is applauding you and saying, man, step back and really take personal pride in just how far you've come and just how much you've learned. And we're giving you now the gold star to move on fresh to the next cycle. You will get another Ace of Pentacles. You will, we are giving you a fresh take on what you've been gifted. And now you get to take all of your knowledge and apply that. So that by getting your head and your heart in alignment, by really saying, okay, I put action towards something, something doesn't quite feel right, my heart, my emotional core, and I'm going to go back to self and realize, okay, tapping back into my connection with spirit, tapping back into my connection with self. While I'm doing that, I'm going to pull back from actually pushing, and I'm going to start to take a look at, okay, what's coming in from my efforts? I got to make myself ready. I got to remind myself who I am. I have to get my beacon back on and glowing, so that as my ships, it's interesting too that both of these cards really do denote, she looks like she's, a lighthouse sitting on the edge of a cliff facing an ocean, and she's also sitting here, and it's like you've put out that beacon, but you have to continue to shine to attract those ships. You have to continue to kind of help those ships navigate coming into you. And so that's really that's how you get your head and your heart in alignment, or that's by getting your head and your heart in alignment, that's what you're going to bring into you, is that you're going to show yourself from a place of confidence. This is who I am. I'm going to call in those who recognize, appreciate, and respect that. This is what I want. And I will go out to meet the opportunity that works for me. And then I'm willing to start that fresh cycle. I'm willing to apply all the lessons I've learned and be able to move forward with that. To be able to take pride in that the universe is bringing me these things, is helping me take action in simply coming back to what I've put energy into, and is allowing me to have a second perspective, basically a second look at something I've already put energy into. And instead of looking at it with this kind of, dark perspective, I now have the opportunity to bring myself back into a place of power to say, okay, where am I going to put my energy? And now that I'm realizing that I have this ability within me, I have this magic, I see my magic power, and that it does come from within and not from without. How am I going to use this internal power that I'm stepping back into to grow what I thought was this into this healthy, beautiful plant that, by connecting to spirit, I know is my plant. I know is my purpose. It's in alignment with my purpose. Now, moving down here, we have surrender cards that are going to tie into your point of curiosity. We have your card of courage here, and what you're really kind of having to take action around. And then we have your card of contemplation. So again, working with the triad of engagement. So in looking at curiosity is about being open and receptive. And, that element of you're going to be opening a door and moving through it. And we have to stay optimistic to what's on the other side. We can't be looking to open a door to the newest, best version of ourselves and stay in open communication with spirit if we're opening the door already with preconceived notions, already with the wounds of the past and the coloring of, well, all I can see is I don't have what I want. It was not everything I was hoping for. And instead, you're moving forward with fresh eyes. And so in order to do that, you have to surrender. You have to surrender fear and surrender, what you think you have predetermined knowledge about, and you have to step forward with a fresh, optimistic, receptive perception of like a kid opening that door to Narnia or to the secret garden of like, ooh, what are the possibilities? What are the possibilities? And we have 3 surrender cards that came up for you. We have surrendered to the wisdom of your body, surrendered to your full power, which is the Leo card right here, if I've ever seen one, and we have surrendered to silence. So surrender to the wisdom of your body says, listen to your body's message about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. And then we have surrender to your full power. It says your life is calling for you to step into your full power rather than playing it small. And then we have surrender to silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. And what's interesting is I feel like these cards mirror the cards over here. That surrender to the wisdom of your body. Listen to your body's messages. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you're energized and happy, move forward. This is about getting back to you. Getting back to the feeling. It's like getting back to this Hermit card of, okay, I'm feeling, I get that it's my perception. It's my perspective of my reality that is reality. No, I can't ask opinions of 100 different people. I can't look to see my life reflected and applauded by others. Like, I've built something for myself, but now does that feel right for me? And if it doesn't feel right, well, this is that time to release. To release as you move in. What doesn't feel right is part of getting your head and your heart in place. If there is a relationship in your life where you feel physically drained, well, even if that's a relationship you want to keep going, like it's a relationship with your boss at work or a relationship with a significant other, if it doesn't feel right, this is time to let it go. So it's time to realize that Spirit is asking you to come back into union with them, to be able to be shown where to put your energy, and it's clearly not going to be with somebody that makes you feel drained. And then we have surrender to your full power, which I love this. Again, it's the true card of Leo. It's a roaring lion. It's fantastic. Your life is calling for you to step into your full power rather than playing it small. And I think that this is beautiful. So, you know, the King of Wands is in his full power. He's the King of Wands. He is Leo, the roaring lion on the hill. But where we sometimes mix up, you know, say the King of Wands with the Three of Wands is that sometimes we've done all that we can do. Sometimes we've put as much effort as we can into something, or we are putting effort into something, but we're not willing to keep our eyes open to all opportunities that are coming back from us putting energy out in a specific way. And that's really where we can get lost kind of in this feeling of looking at what's in our current tangible environment and not feeling fulfilled by it. And in reality, what we need to do is realize, okay, we've have our torch, we've lit it, we can light our beacons, and we can wait for stuff to come in. Now, we don't have to take everything that comes in. You can stand ready in the full knowledge of, okay, my head and heart are in alignment. I know where I want to put energy. I know what I want to manifest. And I know the feeling that I want to have from that. I know from going within what is going to bring me that sense of emotional fulfillment. And I'm ready. I know I'm starting a new cycle. I know how far I've come. I know what I'm capable of. And I'm going to wait for the right opportunity to come in. And I'm not going to play it small. I'm not going to let, somebody else that doesn't make me feel great continue to make me feel bad. I'm not going to, give up my star or let my light be dimmed for somebody else or for something else. I'm not going to let my light be dimmed because I'm so focused on getting light from the external environment instead of generating it from within. So this is really asking you to be able to move into seeing the opportunities, to really be able to recognize and look at your life with fresh eyes of like, holy crap. I'm sorry for swearing, but it is like that. It's like looking at everything and saying, oh my gosh, I'm Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. And no, it's not all sepia toned and this wrecked house. It's this beautiful technicolor world that I've now am able to step into. I have the power to turn this into whatever I want to show to the world now, whatever's going to bring me that emotional fulfillment in the tangible world. By stepping into my full power of being able to choose from what is coming in, because I have full faith that I've already created that foundation for myself. And then you have surrender to silence. And it says, in quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. And again, this really comes back to the hermit here of really looking at going within. It's not about all this outward motion. It's not about getting kudos from other people. It's about reconnecting with the light that shines when you connect with your soul, when you connect with that feeling of who you are uniquely. And this ties in, I've done a few other readings for you this month, Leo, and this really ties into kind of what the message that just keeps coming through for you, which is, this is not a month, this is not a portal that others can help you move through. This is a doorway that's asking you to step back into your own internal power of basically generating love and light from within. The energy of Leo really is working with love and light. Your sign is directly tied and ruled by the sun. And the chakra that's most associated with you is the heart chakra. And so there is this component of really sitting with that, understanding, okay, if you're working with love and light, well, then you can grow whatever you want to grow. You are the sun. Things grow at your command. But you have to be the one to know what you want to grow. You have to be the one to know where you want to shine your internal light and what you want to come back into you. And then to celebrate with the universe and to be ready for movement. This is definitely a card of movement. There is something, you do have cards of movement here. So action in the world, there is something here where it's almost like you're quietly moving into a place where instead of all this energy you've been putting out, by simply reconnecting back in with yourself, you're going to pull in this change that's coming. It's like opening the door and all of a sudden you are in the Wizard of Oz. Or you're in Oz, and you're going to realize that in this new land, you have the power. You have the power to create. It's almost like being able to see, like, oh my gosh, I can just wave my arm and that's what comes. Oh, okay, and I can do this, and this grows now. And that's really what you're being asked to step into. But it's coming from a place of again turning on that your own light. That it's instead of being so outwardly focused, being completely inward focused, and really coming back to appreciation of that. Because then for your point of courage, of what you're going to have to kind of dig into to really, take action towards walking through this door, as an underlying energy of action here is to the sea. And to the sea is the number 7. So again, you have this number 7 that is coming through here, which is really, again, that connection to the divine of taking that time to stop and say, what feels right to me? I need to reconnect with that authentic connection between spirit and myself and my own unique spirit, and to tap back into what feels good. And this card is all about flow. It's all about feeling in flow and working with what is in flow and the opportunities that come when you feel in flow. And so, like, again, this is also mirroring this kind of element of getting your head and your heart in alignment and taking action with both of them together to say, okay, I can see what I want on a mental level. I can get that in alignment with what I know will feel good for me. And I'm not going to accept anything that feels outside of that. I'm going to get back into flow with spirit, with what feels easy to me, with what allows me to step back and see what's meant for me, to actually be able to step back and say, oh my God, look at the opportunities that I've created for myself. And now I know what I want to attract. Now I know now I can take a look at those opportunities and know right away which ones are the ones for me. And then we have contemplation. So contemplation is really where we look to tie everything together. Contemplation is that point where we reflect, where we integrate lessons learned. And for you guys, you have Animal Kingdom, which says animals of all types are extraordinary creatures and miraculous gifts to us. They've been our spiritual companions since the dawn of time. At this moment, they have lessons to share with you that will open your heart and soul. And I think that this is interesting because I do feel that sometimes we are kind of not blind to the animal kingdom, but we forget how we're all connected. And that we're even connected as much to other humans as we are to animals and to everything around us. And in kind of understanding this ability to open up to what is, to being curious again, to being prepared to see life in a little bit more of this technicolor, beautiful, I get to control what I create perspective. There is this element too of taking a look of, even down to the animals that surround you, looking at the actions that they take. And that there might be creatures that are, that maybe you have focused on, that are, it's interesting. Like a lot of times we'll have like what we just kind of hyperfixate on as like our own spirit animal. For me personally, I actually do have one. The hawk represents something very specific and integral to me. And so when I see hawks, I often get an extra meaning out of that. And I feel like perhaps some of you have the same, that there's something that you have a tie to either a specific animal in your life that maybe represented something to you. And there is a lesson in that, maybe perhaps how you connected with that animal, or the love that that animal showed you, and maybe having that mirrored back into how you can show that same kind of unconditional love out to others. Or it's simply looking at whatever animal, and this could also be fantasy animals, this could be something like a dragon or a snake or a unicorn, something that you have associated with some aspect of yourself, and to really kind of look at why you felt tied to that animal, why you feel like that is your spirit animal. And perhaps if you've never had one, maybe this is a great time to contemplate on what would be your spirit animal. If this whole reading is about tapping back into yourself, instead of pushing, Spirit's asking you to re-examine and have a totally different perspective of yourself and reignite yourself, your unique spirit. What would be your spirit animal and why? And I think this is going to be kind of the key to understanding where and how you start to, show yourself again in an authentic way, and how you start to work with the tangible elements you have in your life to start to grow what you want. So for you, the lion that represents Leo, if that really is a spirit animal for you, well, think about the lion. The lion is one of those unique animals that can go from being very, they take naps, they lounge around, they can be kind of lazy and playful, to then they get up and they go. And there's this ferocious side to them, and there's this go-getter side. And so they kind of balance between intense bouts of action and then this ability to kind of enjoy the pleasures of life, enjoy the time to take a nap in the shade. And it's really, when you think about that, it's showing you that it's okay if you want to tap into the power of the lion. Yes, there's this power that's, kind of, you get to roar, and all the animals in a certain extent are going to feel your power. And you have every right to show that. You have every right to call into you what you want and to show that again with pride. But then you have the ability to stop and to take a nap and lounge and wait for others to come to you. Wait for that antelope to come by, and then you can take action towards it. But I do think in contemplating, I think for you guys, there really is this element of really looking at yourself and associating. If you could associate yourself with a spirit animal, what would that be and why? And that's going to help you kind of understand, okay, is my spirit animal right now a horse? Because I want to just feel free, and I want to gallop, and I want to be able to kind of take in this unbridled side to life. I want to feel like these horses here. And if that's really what you're feeling, then that's tapping back into you. That's your connection to spirit in this present moment of you want to feel unbridled freedom. Okay, great. Now that you know that, you know where to apply your power, where to apply your sun, where in your area by applying your own beautiful energy is that going to open up an element of bringing in freedom for you. Is that applying energy towards a personal creative project? Is that putting energy towards, buying a ticket to go travel somewhere? Is that putting energy into, whatever it is, taking some time off from work, utilizing the PTO you've accumulated and haven't done anything with? It's about looking at what you have and changing your perspective of it, and then using it towards who you are now. Reconnecting with what the universe is trying to show you are your internal superpowers of who you are. Because then I move up to your destiny here, and we have cosmic heart, cosmic Christ. Now, all religion aside, you don't have to take this as, Jesus Christ. It's more about looking at this is a heart-centered card. I love this card because it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if anybody's seen that movie. I think it's called Tomorrowland. It was a Disney movie that came out a few years ago. But in the last scene, there is this element of kind of people being able to come forward and wake up to this beautiful, kind of shining city of tomorrow. And that's what I see mirrored here, is that there's this element of connecting your heart-centered light. I mean, this is also represents Leo to me, that this is when I see Leos, this is what I feel you guys are meant to project. And that by tapping into the power of that light, of understanding that you have the power to shine that on who you want, where you want, how you want, that it is reciprocated back to you by others seeing through that light, seeing the possibilities to a beautiful world that you want to create for yourself, that others get a chance to see what you're creating, and that in doing so and being the best version of yourself, you get to help shine a light. And sorry guys, something keeps popping through here. That you guys get a chance to really shine that light, to be a beacon for others to say, wow, I work with this guy or this girl, and I see what they're continually building for themselves and how they live their and what comes in for them. And I love being in their presence because they're so positive, or they're so, I get to see by their light. I get to see a little glimpse of this beautiful place that can exist when you come from this true, authentic, heart-centered experience. And so that's part of your destiny right now, you're being asked to see what you have in a new light, reconnect with your power so that you can place your power, you can shine your light on specific areas with specific intent to your connection to spirit right now. What feels in flow, what feels good, what you want to grow for yourself based off of what your spirit animal would be right in this moment. To be able to really work with your ability to shine your inner light, to come from this heart-centered place so that whatever you're growing is going to aid the larger collective in understanding their own internal ability to do the same. You're just being able to shine that light brighter so that they can see by your light their own. This is a really important month, Leos. I think you're really being asked to step into a place of personal power in a way that really is that beacon for others. It's not only a beacon for yourself, this month is a realignment with you, of getting back to your full power, of understanding that you don't need anything from your external environment. This is all coming from within, and your connection back to the divine is what's going to allow you to bring in the opportunities to you that you've already been working on, but also to allow you to work with what you have now in a completely different way, in a more fulfilling, authentic way that's really going to bring in abundance for you, that's going to start this next chapter of your life. And that's probably going to entail some great piece of change, whether this is travel to someplace else, relocation, getting to be around new people. It's really going to highlight, again, the first step in your next cycle, and allowing you to, with the second half of this year and coming into next year, being able to step into being the beacon for others, shining your light through being authentic to self so that others have something to see by as they are finding their own internal light. All right, Leos, have a wonderful June. I can't wait to do more of these readings for you in July. There are a couple other readings that I have up for the month of June for you, if you wanted to take a look at those on my site. If you'd like to book a personal reading or one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. Bye, Leos. Hello, all my lovely Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. So, just like what I described in the little intro video, this is a reading that is meant to harness the portal energy of the master number 11 for the month of June. So this month really is kind of a critical crux month in our individual spiritual evolution. The energies of this month are really pushing us to release something, an old version of self, a way of being, a lack of awareness of ourselves and our relationship to our external environment, something along those lines. That is then going to allow us to walk through the portal energy that's being opened for us, the door between us right now and the spiritual evolution of our internal selves, what we're being asked by the universe to become. And this is really going to help us harness really the second half of the year, the energies that are at play as far as kind of getting us to hone our unique internal abilities, so that coming into 2022, which is a year of where we really start to work with the energy of actualization, that we have already started to create for ourselves from a place of utilizing our unique abilities, reconnecting with our unique hopes and dreams, so that as we move into 2022, we're actually starting to see the manifestation of what it feels like when we work in flow, in tune with our own unique spiritual selves. Now, this month specifically is really going to push us to get a spiritual upgrade. So basically, this is a month of growth. And if you can really harness that energy, you'll find that the second half of this year is really going to see some marked change. And specifically some marked change in how you feel emotionally fulfilled, and how you start to change your perspective on your life from one of perhaps doubt and maybe fear or frustration and discontent to one of opening back up to the opportunities and possibilities with a fresh perspective of who you are, and really coming forward as the empowered version of yourself, and also working with the powers of your actual sign. So when I talk about astrology and your sign, this isn't just kind of an ethereal, well, you're a Sagittarius because you looked one time at your birthday and this is, what was shown. This is more about really understanding you were born at a specific time in a specific place with Sagittarius in a prominent placement in your chart, whether sun, moon, or rising. And this was really meant to have you work with the unique energies of the sign of Sagittarius, which really is the spiritual adventurer. The best aspects of Sagittarius that other signs do not work with is the capacity to really understand being able to be curious about the interconnectedness of everything, really kind of being the spiritual warrior. That you guys are the ones who are not afraid to get up and go and really feel the zest of life. That you're meant to show other signs through being you. You're meant to show us what it's like to interact with different races and cultures and just individuals, and the benefits, the spiritual benefits that happen to the collective when we choose to do that. And so this month is really highlighting some area on an individual basis for you that you need to release to kind of go through this leveling up process, so that you can really start to capitalize again on that element of your sign and be able to be an example in how you live your life and how you live that part of yourself into the external environment, so that others can interact with it and utilize that example to say, oh, I see why it's beneficial for me to be open to others, open to the different, to actually bring more fun into my life and not be afraid to work with my passions and travel the world, experience new cultures, and that kind of thing. So, to get into your reading and how it's laid out, the cards on this side are your current energy and what you're sitting in. This is your doorway portal. This is what Spirit is asking you to work with the energy to be able to release something to move into then what's showing up on this side, which is the next evolutionary version of yourself. Down here, these are cards for curiosity, courage, and contemplation, helping us work with the triad of engagement, which I use in my coaching practice as basically a tool to help utilize and work with these three principles as a way to engage your internal unique spiritual self with your external environment. So this really is kind of the key to unlocking or to connecting your internal gears with your external environment gears so that the door will open more easily, showing you what you need to do basically to be able to walk through this door and then be able to step into your destiny. So just kind of start with what I'm seeing here. So currently, what you're sitting with, we have your two major overarching energies. So this is kind of who you are and where you're going. And it's interesting because we have King of Wands here, which does denote this is a fire sign, archetypal fire sign energy. So that really I'm feeling is you right now. This is somebody who acts from a place of passion in an empowered way. And walking through the portal, coming through onto this side, we have the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups is actually kind of emotion, like a lack of emotional fulfillment. It really denotes a feeling of disappointment. In its normal traditional Rider-Waite tarot depiction, it shows somebody with their back turned to the viewer, looking at 3 cups that have spilled, with 2 cups still upright and full behind them. And what that shows is that they're so focused on what has been lost, the spilled milk, so to speak, that they don't notice that there are these 2 beautiful full cups behind them, not only one for themselves, but one that they can share with another. And, it may seem like, hey, I'm moving from the King of Wands to the Five of Cups. That doesn't seem like that's a positive forward movement. But what's in between this is the full story here. And I really look at myself as a storyteller. So I'm going to show you the story right now that's unfolding for you guys. Yes, you right now are harnessing the King of Wands. I have a feeling that many of you have stepped back into your power recently, have really felt that you are back in tune with working from a place of passion and taking action and feeling that you have the authority in your life to do so. But the 2 cards that are coming up side by side here are making me think that there is a lack of emotional fulfillment that has come to light recently. So we have the 10 of Cups, which is the completion of the cup cycle in the tarot. It is the ultimate feeling of emotional content. It is the happy family card. It is the rainbows and people dancing together. And it is having 10 full cups overflowing. It is literally the culmination and realization of ultimate emotional fulfillment. But it's directly next to the Tower. And the Tower card in the tarot is one of destruction, but one of necessary destruction, one of divine destruction. It's one where we have built a tower that no longer serves us. So the story behind this, if you know the story of the tarot, kind of going through the major arcana, is the card before the Tower is the Devil. And it's showing us that we have, trapped ourselves in some capacity trapped ourselves not because the devil, an external force, is trapping us. In the depiction, it's showing us loosely chained, that we are choosing to stay chained to something. And we are choosing to see it as something else externally is chaining us. But in reality, we can free ourselves at any time. And the Tower is about us, basically the divine coming in and saying, okay, you won't free yourself, so we are going to come in and free you. We are going to be the ones, kind of like Rapunzel, she's in the tower and she's waiting for the prince to come. Well, it's kind of done from the opposite direction. As you can see, it's not about her throwing her hair down and the prince coming up and nicely rescuing her. It's about the universe burning that tower down and knocking you out of that top part to say, stop it. this wasn't right for you. This might have been right as you were building it before, but now it is no longer stable. This tower was not meant to last the test of time. And we want to free you to move into the next better version of yourself, to be able to see once again, what it's like to feel being you as the free version of yourself. So there's something in here where there has been what I call a tower moment in relation to you feeling emotional fulfillment, that there is some realization, and usually the tower will bring that it'll basically be an external event that brings an internal realization. And there's something here where even though you feel like you've stepped into a seat of power, that there is this element of you understand what your ultimate emotional fulfillment can look like, but you realize that it's not here, that you're not feeling it. And that even being in the most empowered version of yourself, you are still unable to tap into that 10 of Cups, whatever that is for you, whatever is the ultimate feeling of emotional fulfillment, you are not able to have that. You're not able to feel that right now. And so you're sitting with this kind of like intense internal realization of that. And at the same time, it's probably showing you maybe what that is. Maybe you thought emotional fulfillment and that 10 of Cups, my cups floweth over kind of feeling was going to come from something, from you stepping back into your power or you working from a place of passion. And yet what you're realizing now in this very moment is that what you've built up around yourself, what you've been seeing as kind of the structure of your life and the safety of what you've become accustomed to, is now something that is faulty. It's something that actually does not bring you that feeling of the 10 of Cups, and that maybe now you're starting to realize that this has changed for you, that what you originally thought was going to be emotionally fulfilling is not. And so it's time to let the tower fall. It's time to move forward as a fresh version of yourself. And so your portal energy here is the 6th chakra. It says Archangel Metatron, but really what we're focusing on here with the 6th chakra, which is the third eye, if you guys can see that here, is what Spirit's asking you to do is to see the bigger picture, is to basically look from within to your external environment. Spirit's asking you to see the highest version of what you know you're capable of and how that can bring emotional fulfillment for you. And this is a scary place to be. This is really sitting in a energy of knowing that what you have needs to change. And knowing that what you have right now, admitting to yourself, it's not enough. It's not fulfilling for you. And understanding that you're going to have to release and change and allow some things in your life to change to be able to realize and step into this full 10 of Cups again. Because as we move into the other side here, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is such a beautiful card. It denotes movement. It denotes the divine stepping in and bringing fortune your way, getting you back in flow with life, moving you forward. It's a card of movement. Now, it's not a card of fast movement. It's not like what we would imagine the Wheel of Fortune, where you're like in Vegas and you spin a wheel and you win or you don't win. It's that this is showing movement again with the flow of your life. That if you can step through this doorway into seeing the bigger picture and understanding that, yes, something is going to have to change. There is something that you're going to have to release about your current environment, about your current belief system as well, to be able to see and tap into what Spirit is trying to show you as the bigger picture, as to what is really needed from the King of Wands. That you are probably, what's also being realized here is that you're not fulfilling your ultimate. Yes, you can act like a king and you can act from a place of passion and you can be calling the shots in your life, but Are you, again, is that making you feel happy? You can admit that you're in a place of power, but if it's not bringing you happiness, if it's not bringing you emotional fulfillment, well, then it's keeping you disconnected from your greater purpose and place. You're not going to, if you don't feel happy about it, you're not going to feel content with it. And so this is what the doorway is asking you to do. Your doorway is asking you to surrender this fear of stepping away from security and into the unknown. Because that's really what the tower is. The tower is knocking down all that you've known, all that you thought you needed to stay tied to with the devil under a false sense of security. This gets to the place where, but this is all I've known, or this is what I've worked with for all this time, or, but this job gives me enough money, enough, quote unquote, or this home is, maybe needs to be, rebuilt, or we need to move, but I've always lived here, but I've always done it this way, but I've always been like this. I've always been this person in this partnership. And what Spirit's asking you to do is say, there's a reason why this part of you now needs to change. There's a reason why this part of you is being externally pushed to change, because there's a bigger picture for you to see. There's a heightened, elevated perspective that you need to bring this beautiful, action-oriented Sagittarius self into the next chapter to connect with others, because that's really what I'm seeing here. This is the progression of you reconnecting with movement again in your life, and that is going to entail change. There is going to be marked change in some aspect of your life, whether this is moving, whether this is releasing ties to the past, to what has been, whether this is familial ties, friendship ties, work ties, relationship ties. Something in your current structure is going to be released and changed, but that's going to allow you to connect then with the Six of Swords, which here, that is moving on a mental level. That is transcendence. That is being able to say, okay, I can transcend my current environment on a mental level to understand and be able to see what's out there for me, to move away from these troubled waters and towards my ultimate feeling of home, because that's what the Chariot is. So she's starting this process on a mental way of releasing and transcending the old thought patterns from before, and then getting her head and heart in alignment to get into the Chariot. And the Chariot embodies us being able to harness the two sides of ourselves. Again, the head and the heart, which you can look at as, spirit, if you're looking at spirit connected to the emotional selves, our heart, and the head, which is us trying to rationalize from our own perspective. So it's kind of that wrestling between what spirit wants for us and what we are rationalizing we should do. And when we can get those two things on board, when we can get ourselves, our head, in alignment with what spirit's asking us, that's when we get to drive the Chariot to our ultimate home. And when we talk about the ultimate version of home, home is different to each one of us. That is where you are going to feel at peace. That is where you're going to feel accepted for who you are. That is where you're going to feel your place and your purpose, and you're going to be able to then move into the Nine of Cups. So the Nine of Cups comes before the Ten of Cups. The Nine of Cups literally is feeling proud of how far you've come and feeling it on an emotional level. Feeling like, wow, I have achieved so much. I have this feeling of knowing what emotional contentment can feel like, but now I get to make this wish. I get to kind of throw it out to the divine of saying, I know now what didn't feel right here. I see where I saw my Ten of Cups. I got a glimpse of it. And now I'm going to make that wish for it. Now I'm going to admit to myself what has changed from right now, from the past, and then looking at my present self to what I want for my future and what is going to bring emotional fulfillment, something has changed and I'm going to make a wish for it. And that's going to bring you into alignment with partnership, with the Two of Cups, which I think it ties in beautifully with the Five of Cups. That what it's going to highlight for you is your ability to finally release this tie to looking at the Three Cups, basically the spilled milk. And instead of crying over spilled milk, what you're going to do is you're going to have this reconnection with spirit, of putting it out there to the divine to say, okay, this is what I know is going to emotionally fulfill me, and I don't care what that is. I don't care if it's for you, like what you think is the most impossible thing that's going to bring you emotional fulfillment. It's time for you to make that wish, because that is what's going to connect you. That's what's going to show you and strengthen not only the connections between you and the others in your life, but it's what's going to bring in your ability to turn around and see those two upright full cups together and to say, oh my gosh, these 3 cups of spilled milk are done. I can't change that, but wow, I've been missing this connection. I've been missing the best part of being a Sagittarius, which is my ability to go out and connect my passionate self with others and have that return to me on an equal basis, that the other will share their cup, their full cup, and we get to do this together. And that is the story that's coming through here, is you're moving from a place of emotional discontent and realization of what actually is preventing you from being happy, to moving into getting to turn that wheel back in your favor of movement towards what is meant for you, so that you can once again bring those really fortunate partnerships into your life, and you can re-engage with the best part of being a Sagittarius, which is making these integral connections with others and really being able to walk away from regret. That moving through this portal this month and releasing something that has been tied to security for you, something that's been tied to the status quo, to what's always been, releasing that's going to allow you to also at the same time release regret, because you're going to see it in a whole new light. You're going to rekindle this fire for life, this emotional connection, and be able to get yourself moving again towards ultimate emotional fulfillment. So when we look at the triad of engagement down here, when we look at curiosity, when we think of curiosity, you're opening a door. You're being asked to open the door and be curious to what your third eye, what spirit is going to show you beyond that door. The spirit is going to show you, not he, but I just said it that way because it's a masculine depiction here. But it's about coming back to that place of being open and receptive, that you don't know what's on the other side of that door. But what you do know and have faith in is that it's going to bring you the emotional fulfillment you are not experiencing now, but have the ability to experience. And so in keeping open to that, what you're going to have to release is surrendering your belief in scarcity. And this says, the universe is asking you to open to the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. And I think that this is really kind of what's been preventing you right here, Sagittarius, from really unlocking this next level of emotional fulfillment, is that this belief in scarcity has kept you tied to current situations that are no longer productive for you, have kept you tied to living in a specific way, living in a specific place, living with a specific person, working a specific job, getting up every day and working in a specific way. And this is really where you have to open up with faith to the universe. Tap into that third eye to realize you know that there's something more. And Spirit is trying to show you that. And yes, it is going to mean the tearing down of something of stability in your life. But what you're not realizing is that in clinging to that little piece of of safety, you're holding yourself back from this, from stepping into your kingdom as the King of Wands. you're holding yourself back from true emotional fulfillment and connection, deep, equitable connection with others. I mean, we really talked about, in this way you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. And that's what Spirit's asking you. Spirit says you are the King of Wands. You are Sagittarius. You are meant to go out there and show people what happens when you act from your passions. To show people what it's like when you accept the differences as beautiful in our life, and to be that example, especially now at this time, that it's more important now than ever to celebrate the uniqueness of the individual, of also individual cultures and races, and you name it. It's about celebrating individuality, and you have the power to help facilitate that for others where it may be difficult for them. That will come with ease. But you get to also, you also deserve emotional fulfillment. But by stepping back into who you are, you will, and by trusting and having faith in the spiritual component to life again, because really you are that spiritual adventurer. You do have a natural gift for tapping into spirit and being able to highlight and work with that energy, that you'll basically be a leader to others, to show for what is difficult for others to do, be able to make it look easy, or be able to teach them, to say, this is what I did when I, was able to connect on a deeper level with people. This is what I did to help release my feelings of regret from the past, to be able to move forward and understand that I will always have a full cup. My connection to the divine is always a cup runneth over. But the beauty of life is not just that in the knowledge that I have that cup. The beauty is that you get to share that cup with everybody else's cup. Every other person has their own cup, and you get to share it. But you're going to have to release your tie to a lack of belief in some aspect of yourself. And then we have chop wood as your kind of point of courage. So as to help you kind of gain the courage to take action, to move forward. It's not a lot. Spirit is not asking you. Spirit is pushing you, yes, through something dramatic to reshake up your connection to your emotional core. But it's not asking you to go do anything crazy. It's not asking you to legitimately upend your life and quit your job or, move your family in a moment's notice someplace. What it's asking you to do is to release your tie to the fact that if you get rid of this point of security, that you can't provide for yourself, or that the universe won't provide for you. And all you need to do, and this card really just focuses on, you just need to focus on the little things. Focus on dotting your I's and crossing your T's and cleaning your house and showing up for work and doing all of these little tasks as you're tapping into basically the vision of what can be. So this is really about tapping into that element of staying busy, but taking the necessary steps as you're doing that to connect with this side of the portal, to connect with, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to let the tower coming down stop me from living my life. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to double down. I'm going to keep doing the things I need to do to work now in flow with the wheel, to work with getting myself on a mental level past this point of regret, past this point of disconnection, and take my King of Wands into my chariot to ask the universe for what I really want, so that I can connect that fully with others. And then for your point of contemplation, which is your point of reflection, where we can really integrate and learn about the self, we come into support and be proud. And support says, people come into your life for many reasons. Some you learn from, and then they move on, while others return often because you need to learn more from those individuals. Others remain beside you throughout your entire life. And then we have be proud. It's time to celebrate all that you've achieved, all that you are, and all that you will become. Every once in a while, it's important to stop and acknowledge what you've achieved and be proud. And really, this be proud, I feel like, connects directly to the King of Wands. It's time for you to really contemplate on how far you've come to become this King of Wands. And also to understand that just in being a Sagittarius, you harness this energy. Yes, it is an energy, a card traditionally of Leo, but there is this component of being a fire sign. You get to tap into this. You get to tap into this very fixed, powerful, action, passion-oriented king. And just like he is proud of how far he's come and his kingdom, and you get to do the same. It's time for you to take a step back and look at all that you've done. And yes, maybe you aren't feeling that emotional connection right now. Maybe you thought what you once thought was going to bring you that, you're realizing now it's not. And that no matter how much you try to tape the walls together, the walls are coming down in some aspect of your life. But that doesn't mean that you can't be proud. It doesn't mean that you sit in a place, the Five of Cups, where you continually look with regret at what's been spilled or what's been lost. The knowledge is that what's happened in the past cannot come back. You cannot take up that liquid and put it back into the cups and turn them up, right side up. It's not possible. But what is possible is for you to turn around in this present moment and be able to pick up the two cups that are full. And it's to be proud of that. It's to be proud that you've gone through something. You've come out the King of Wands. And now it's time to connect that story, that part of yourself, with others. And be proud of that. Because you do have support for yourself here. And I really feel the support card is really about contemplating how fragile and vulnerable we are. You know, you look at the egg here being supported by all these hands. And that's really, it shows that there are always going to be people, kind of like what it says here, that can pop in and give us these little elements of support as we need them. We are always supported in some capacity, whether it's through a parent or a friendship or a mentorship at work. There's always going to be these relationships around us because we are fragile. We all have towers that can be knocked down at any given point in our lives. You are not the only one. Most of us are going through some point like this in our lives. But for you, it's about contemplating on how in the past, when you've gotten through things, how and where support has come from. And to remind yourself that there's always support. There's always this ability to connect with another, and that others want to connect with you. And for here, to really kind of learn and integrate, this is about integrating what you're proud of in yourself. What are your abilities? What are your strengths? What are you pulling forward? And where is your current support? And the knowledge that no matter how bad life has gotten, you've always had areas of support for yourself. And so now, how can you bring that forward and really work with that element of maybe you've been supported a lot and now it's time for you to support others, or vice versa. But either way, you've always had support. And this is a perfect reminder that you may believe that you don't have that support, or that if you let go of this element of security or this element of self that you felt chained to, that people aren't going to support that. And in reality, what this is saying is that Spirit's going to bring in whatever you need. So as you change, as you release one thing, it's not that you're never going to have that back again, or that because this one person in the present isn't going to be on board with you letting go of that point of security. It's the belief that you have to surrender that belief in scarcity and get back into realizing that support will come. Spirit will provide you with that support. So it's about really reflecting on that, about how, as you've gone through great changes, previous tower moments in your life, look at how support has come to help you. And support probably in ways that you didn't even expect. So in helping you be able to surrender that belief in scarcity so that you can walk through this door fearlessly, it's about understanding that the support will come again. You will have everything needed as you move forward. Make that new wish for emotional fulfillment and send it up to the divine, and really connect yourself again with the world as your most pure and current authentic self. Because then we move into your seat of destiny, Sagittarius, which is Star Child and spiritual service. And I really think these coming out for you harness the energy of your sign, especially spiritual service. This is showing me here that you're really, if you can move through this portal of fresh beginnings and release regret, remember that your place of power comes from your ability to connect with others, and to connect not only with others, but in doing so, you're being of spiritual service. Again, you are demonstrating through your actions the best of what comes from wanting to be that spiritual adventurer, wanting to be the one that wants that information, that wants to go out and follow passions, and that wants to celebrate others' passions as much as you celebrate your own. Now, I'm going to just read very briefly the shortened version of the description that's tied with both Star Child and spiritual service. And actually, looking at Star Child is number 8 and spiritual service is 21. So the number 8 in numerology really harnesses that power of abundance through personal power. The number 8 is tied to really digging into your seat of the core of yourself and being able to manifest from a position of power. And the number 21 breaks down in numerology. You'd add 2 + 1 = 3. And the number 3 is the number of, I always look at it personally as our communion with the divine. It's us kind of greeting the unknown with the childlike sense of awe and wonder of a child. And it really, to me, speaks to wanting to basically share that kind of joyful optimism, the joyful curiosity with others. The number 3 can kind of be a number of wanting to be the entertainer, wanting to show off, almost like a child, kind of being seen. And I really think here, spiritual service tied to the number 3 is really talking about you being seen for what you do best, and understanding that will be spiritual service in and of itself. That will be bringing that element of connecting with the divine from a joyful, optimistic, openly curious place. And I like how there's this element of Star Child, that there is this cosmic tie between your inner child, your core of abundance, the core of exactly who you are, is that abundance comes. So you will never have scarcity in your life because you are so rich with the emotional flow, with a full emotional cup. that is always being refilled by your own personal power. And what you manifest from that is basically everything you see here. But this is reminding you that you have this tie to the divine, and that in being yourself, you are going to be fulfilling that element of spiritual purpose. But I'm going to just read. So these cards come with very lengthy descriptions, but I am just going to read kind of the overall message. There's a brief or a shortened version of the larger message here. And for any of you who are interested, this is the Light Worker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Okay, so for Star Child, the description is, the light of the stars exists in you. The earth wants you to share that light with humanity. You are asked to understand that you are meant to be here and that you have spiritual work to accomplish. Give up the idea that you belong somewhere else, to another home in the stars. Instead, let the starlight of your inner being shine here on earth, where it shall make such a positive difference in the world. Fall in love with Earth's beauty. She can and will support you in all ways. And I think this is so beautiful. This really shows that you are meant to step in to this heightened version of yourself. It's almost like when we are born under a specific sign, or with a specific sign in our charts and significant placements, we are basically being given a gift that we are meant to not only work with, but to share with others and to honor and respect. It's like being given the gift of some unique treasure from your own personal lineage, and really understanding that this is a piece that needs to be protected and shared and then passed on to the next generation. And this is that beautiful reminder that you do have spiritual work, and that right now what you're being pushed to do, this new start, this new doorway, is going to help you step into that in a natural and abundant way. And then we have spiritual service, number 21. And this is, self-doubt can be a habit that is hard to break. It can slow down your spiritual progress and the fulfillment of your life purpose. Ultimately, it won't stop you, but it can make your progress seem more challenging. It's easier to fulfill your purpose when you acknowledge your own goodness and talent and do what you love to the best of your ability. Realize that you are enough, that your work is good, and that you have something of value to offer. It is time to let go of fear of failure, concern about your ability, and your right to live a happy and fulfilled life of success. The universe believes in you. I'm just going to reread that last sentence. It kind of came out a little strange. It says, it is time to let go of fear of failure and concern about your ability and your right to live a happy and fulfilled life of success. The universe believes in you. So this is really saying it's time to let go of that fear that what you wish for now for your 10 of Cups is asking too much, is going to change everything, but that you shouldn't change things because everything is as good as it can be. This is showing you that you have a right to step into happiness. You have a right to step into your birthright. And that if you do, you're going to be supported, and that you're going to be stepping into the next evolution of your purpose, which is to be of spiritual service and to connect that with others. Sagittarius, I hope this has been a helpful reading for you. This is going to be a month of June. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, because when we have the Tower coming into play, this can be challenging. I mean, easier said than done to say, oh, just walk away from something. Especially when that something creates an illusion of security. And I'm going to use the word illusion and fantasy because we are working with those energies in this month. And I don't generally go into too much of the astrology because I'm not a professional astrologer, but I can say that in just looking over the planetary placements, there is this push to see through the illusion, but to not lose sight of the inspired possibilities. Sometimes we have a hard time understanding, looking at fantasy from truth. And a lot of times we'll believe, we'll rationalize to ourselves, we'll take our rational mind and we'll rationalize, well, this is true. And everything else, all my heart's desires are just a fantasy. And oftentimes it's the reverse of that. The fantasy is what we try to rationalize as this is enough. And the truth is what our heart is calling us to do, is what our heart is calling us to change. And it's an interesting kind of play on, a lot of times we're looking at things through a backwards mirror. And what's on the other side of that mirror is the truth, not the fantasy that we think it is. And so for you guys, I think this month it's really going to highlight where you've mixed up fantasy with feeling happy and fulfilled with the truth of holding yourself back. And that the fantasy really is that you're not good enough. The fantasy is that this is all that there is. The fantasy is that you don't need to have a partner that reciprocates, or that you're not deserving of the ability to travel, or that the fantasy is that this is the only work you can do. This is the only place you can live. This is the only partner you can have. And the truth is that you can have everything. You can have your heart's desire, your heart's wish. You can have that intimate, equal connection. You can move in flow with your life. And the abundance that will come in will come through the support of others and just universal support, and will allow you to tap into your divine potential, which is really what the universe is pushing you to do right now. Is it's saying, we want you to be happy. And in being happy, in fulfilling your place through the use of your own abilities and your own hopes, wishes, desires, and dreams, you are going to fill that spiritual service that we need you to fill. Your divine birthright. And that's where tapping in and having faith in that larger picture is really going to come to play here. All right, Sagittarius, have a fantastic month of June. I think coming into July, you're going to see just what it looks like when you actually release that fear and step into a place of belief in self, and combine that with faith in spirit. I will see you for the next reading. If you'd like to book a one-on-one reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. Bye, Sagittariuses.